Hi, everybody. I'm coming on really late again, getting later and later. There's no time to sleep. There's no time to sleep when when you want victory, right? When you want to hold these criminals accountable, when you're up against um really the time is now um because of the Trump administration. So let's just start from the top. 1,663 days since Richard was treasonously, premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss. Absolutely, information is pouring in, and it's heartbreaking for us. It's very, very emotional for us to go through all this information, but we were told at the very beginning that we had to investigate, that we had to bring the leads. And so we have been doing that for over 4 years, and it's really pouring in now. And we are very grateful for President Trump. This is what makes the difference. It is a patriotic leader, a MAGA leader, a Make America Great Again leader that gives results. And so, is it overnight? I can tell you it is happening very, very quickly. But what I want everyone, of course, as soon as the election came through, we wanted results. And we are getting the results. It's just um, step by step, step by step. And so that's why I came on earlier to clarify what's going on at the border, what's going on in El Paso. It's not um, a simple situation. And so, in order to get accountability for Richard, in order to get his remains, which our reports are saying Borstar played a big role in that. Um, and that is corroborated also by other reports. Uh, And I don't know if you remember during that whole time how we were misled about the canine dogs and the report that we got, and we were lied to. We were absolutely lied to. And then digging through the reports and more information coming in, it was clear that there was a canine had a positive hit, and that Borstar has played a much bigger role than what we ever knew. And when we first went to El Paso, we didn't even know that Borstar existed. We didn't know what Borstar was. So they are a very trained group that is meant to do search and rescue in some a tough terrain. And so but so much information coming in, and I have to be very careful what I disclose right now, because what is going on at the border, and I don't know if I posted it. I'll have to check. But there was an interview with Anthony, and Anthony, um, trying to pronounce his last name, but we had years ago a very long discussion. He absolutely knows the case of Richard Halliday. He absolutely knows who we are. I had a long discussion with him, and he's at the border, and he's working with Borstar right now, and he's giving uh, a review with others of what's going on there. And so not only is there chaos on the Mexican side of the border, there's absolute chaos in the Mexican side of the border. Okay. We are in communication with federal authorities, officers, um, and we absolutely know there is chaos on the Mexican side of the border. Um, because the cartel are not going to, and the cartel are not like, I mean, I get they're a huge group of different diverse people, okay, and what they have in common are the billions of dollars that they make in trafficking. If it's the weapons trafficking, or the ammunition, or the human trafficking, it could be illegal aliens, it could be the children, it could be women. Um, there's many different types of the human trafficking. So we've heard, so we've been told, and then of course all the different drugs. Um, so there's just that border needed to be closed years and years ago. There needed to be oversight. There needed to be control of it, because what this money, what this big business did was grow the cartel. It grew it, and it made them powerful, and they made them very armed. And um, that money has to go somewhere. So businesses were created, the LLCs, and of course, the money laundering had to happen, and that money laundering had to go into banks. And so it really became an economy that of course infiltrated El Paso, and um, of course into Fort Bliss. So I'm seeing Danielle, thank you so much for coming on with your prayers. Let me read your comments. I always felt all 15 agencies that didn't finalize an operational order to search for Richard should be held accountable. Justice for Richard Halliday. Yes, it was over 15 agencies, and now it's almost at 30. Okay, now it's almost at 30, but those 15 for that task force find Richard Halliday had no operational order. So how could they finalize one when they had no operational order? It was all a ruse. It was a dog and pony show, and it really makes the generals culpable. General James McConville, uh, uh, 3-star general, Lieutenant General Donna Martin, who was the Provost Marshal. Now she is the IG of the Army. She's absolutely, totally culpable. She needs to be held accountable for what she has allowed to happen, what she participated in. And then, of course, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. He absolutely needs to be held accountable. And I mean, this is treasonous. This is absolute treasonous murder, premeditated murder, and the cover up, and the huge cover up. And in that cover up was the harassment, the threats, the orchestrated retaliation against our family that we've had to go through for these 5 years. And, I don't really talk about what goes on behind the scenes with the retaliation. I do talk about the vile and vulgar messages, but there's other things that happen that are just absolutely, it's total betrayal, right? So, yeah, it was a dog and pony show. They tried to lead and tried to cover up Richard's murder. Everyone that attempted to cover up needed to be held accountable, yes. But they did it because they are, the trafficking went on for so long And the temptations became so great that they sold out, their country. And they wanted a piece of the absolute criminal pie. It's billions of dollars. And, we even have a plane with a plane number. We've had that for a long time. Um, and of course, the Santa Teresa International Jetport plays a big part in this. Of course it does. Um, and everyone knows it. It is common knowledge that it is plays a big part. And El Paso is in a constitutional crisis. And this infiltration, this cartel um, seeking seeping into our country and into our economy. It has become an economy. And, I've talked about iPencil many, many times. If you have never um, watched iPencil, it's on YouTube, and it talks about the way economies work and how just to make the pencil, what chain the supply chain looks like, and what all jobs are needed to make just a simple pencil. And so when you have billions and billions of dollars from criminal activity that is being laundered in, and a lot of bribes, a lot of compromised individuals. Um, and of course, in El Paso, you see it very compromised um, from, um, well, there's a constitutional crisis. You have the federal courthouse having these conflicts of interest that are jaw-dropping, shocking. You have the right-hand man that manages the cases that go through that federal courthouse. His daughter married to Patrick Crusius. You know, Patrick Crusius's brother. Sorry, Patrick Crusius's brother. And the conflicts of interest are also with his son. His son and the internship with the DA, with the FBI, with security at Walmart. It's jaw dropping. So, and of course, the conflict of interest from the judge himself, Judge Guadarrama, with Jaime Esparza, allowing Jaime Esparza as the DA in the 34th Judicial District to stay on the Walmart case for almost 2 years, knowing that he had said publicly that the case was personal to him because his sister was a victim in the Walmart shooting case, and that he had gone over to the Walmart, and now has a very huge conflict of interest. And yet, Judge Guadarrama allowed him to stay on that case. And so did Joe Spencer. So, you know, and that talks about the DA's office, um, just being in chaos ever since. Ever since. It's been in chaos ever since. And now we have James Montoya with his forms. And so we received more and more feedback today about the forms. And, he is absolutely um, not the DA. Okay. He is not the DA, just like Bill Hicks. He has no authority. And he shouldn't sign any documents right now at all. he's in bad trouble. And, how can this happen 2 times in a row? How can this happen with Jaime Esparza, right? So the DA's office has absolutely been put into chaos. So you have the federal courthouse in chaos, in conflict of interest. You have the DA's office in chaos. They can't even fill out their forms properly to become the district attorney. I mean, what's that all about? And this is what we learned through our open records, through the emails, because we have the emails from Bill Hicks, right? Is that when you win the election and you become the new DA, you immediately get sent an email from the Secretary of State giving you the forms and giving you the directions on how to fill out the forms. Pretty simple, but they still walk you through it. And even the governor will send you, uh, you know, email in the directions of how you need to follow through legally so that you can be duly installed, properly installed. So, you know, for Bill Hicks and for James Montoya not to follow those instructions is, just like, what? Are they in kindergarten or something? Is this preschool? Why can't they follow simple instructions? So, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Justice for Richard. Um, so yes, so this, for the DA's office to be in chaos is really unnecessary, and there's more to it, and we're working on that. And then, of course, uh, the county, um, the county commissioners, um, and the judges and the FBI that are in El Paso, they should absolutely not allow the continuation of the judges that are imposters. Can you imagine? You have the entire criminal law magistrate court that need to be fired right now, right? They need to be fired right now, and they need to bring in an election, or somehow uh, be forthright with the people there and have, a temporary appointment where while an election is being organized, and candidates are letting themselves be known. They have to figure something out, what to do to set everything right. So not only does the DA's office have to be set right and the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court set right, not only does the federal court need to be set right, you have the El Paso Police Department, uh, entities within that needs to be like Officer Corzoli, right? Like Officer Corzoli, like Melendez, like Officer Melendez, that need to be set right. They absolutely, that needs to all be investigated. Um, and and of course, we know uh, the problems in the ISDs, right? The El Paso Independent School District Police Department. And then, of course, um, the VA, right? The VA and its fraud and uh, my gosh, the grip that it has on veterans in that area. Um, so these open strings, this money problem, it, this very criminal economy and what it has done, um, in being my Oma would call it a hemshu, right? A stumbling block for people, and into criminal activity. And so this is what President Trump knows what's going on. He knows that it's there. They targeted him first and foremost. They targeted him with the Walmart mass shooting. He was the target for that. Okay, it's very, very clear that it's not me. I'm not saying it. It is absolutely very well documented that they were targeting him and putting forth a false narrative in order to affect the election, the reelection, the 2020 reelection of President Trump. They were trying to bring him down and push forward Beto O'Rourke. This is what was going on in El Paso. Just look it up. It's not me. It's all well documented. So the uh, the point that I'm trying to make there is that you don't forget that, right? You don't forget being targeted, and of course the targeting was ongoing at many different levels and many different places, even at Butler when they tried to assassinate him. Um, you just don't forget all of that. I know we don't forget about the harassment we have undergone and the retaliation. And so when you become the president of the United States, you can't have FBI in those positions that had targeted you earlier, right? That had targeted that you cannot trust, that they had absolutely targeted you at an earlier time. And so he I believe he has fired many of the FBI that had targeted him. And he is absolutely, it's very clear that he is getting his cabinet in. He needs his FBI director, Kash Patel, to swear in. But I think that's next week. So, his cabinet slowly is coming together. Not as fast as, I think it was like 4 days for Barack Obama, um, you know, uh, for the cabinet. So this is, they've played a lot of games. You see the lot of games that they're playing because the economy, the criminal economy is huge. It's huge. The criminal trafficking economy is so big, billions and billions of dollars. And so, you have a lot of compromised individuals. And and so in El Paso being the front door to the criminal trafficking, it is in like it's in a constitutional crisis because it's just in chaos everywhere. And to get answers for Richard, to get his remains, those crisis points need to be addressed. They need to be addressed first. And I think the very first thing that that he can do, that maybe he already has done, is as commander in chief, is to address um, the military leadership, and then of course, um, the cartel infiltrated. Who can you trust? And this is what Anthony was saying in the audio, along with another. I don't know what his name is. Um, and I'll learn it. But they were saying they don't know who you can trust. Like you're going to a group, and that group you think you can trust them, but the next thing you know, you learn that they are compromised, that they are with the cartel. And so what's happening right now is learning who's who. Is learning who's who. And one thing that I can absolutely vouch for is that the only MAGA judge on the border is Judge Roger Rodriguez. Okay. That I can vouch for. Um, and, you know, Trump was right all along. and the rest is going to have and of course Richard was right all along. And uh, to in order and to get the military to do their job finally, instead of passing it on to us, um, yeah, and thwarting us and putting obstacles in our way. Um, you know, but we've done very well, right? We've done very, very well, because God is in control. They can try, um, but they're not going to win, because truth always, if you just have the patience, truth always wins. And so we've been um, waiting for times such as this, and we're getting very, very good positive feedback. But uh, it's really just begun, right? It's just begun. The cleanup job is just begun. And I think that in this world of instant gratification, we have to learn a hard lesson that decades of cartel infiltration um, into our economy, okay, into the economy, which means it goes in everywhere else, seeps in, watch I pencil. Um, it's not going to be an overnight, even as fast as President Trump is. He's so fast. He's amazing. I mean, we can't sleep, right? We can't sleep because we're going to miss out on something. And we can't miss out on this opportunity to get accountability for our son and to get our son's remains. And so we're being very, very vigilant. And names are popping up, like the, um, you know, convicted criminal Alani Hart absolutely needs to be arrested, right? She absolutely needs to be arrested. There's just so much well documented criminal activity surrounding her. She needs to be arrested. So uh, there's so much that's going on, but I really wanted to let everyone know why um, e- absolutely this case is the front door. It's so big and so many people. I mean, I don't know anybody that I've met um, so far that doesn't know Richard Halliday. So, this case is um, central, central to the well being and our national security, the well being of our people. And I would even say um, for the world, because who wants criminal trafficking, right? Who wants criminal trafficking? Where were these hundreds of thousands of children coming from that were taken, right? Um, who wants that? And, so it's absolutely this international case, and it's a treasonous case, and it's a murder case. And it's something that needs to be well thought out um, before addressing it, and addressing it very very careful, because we don't want even more chaos, right? We want to do this legally. We want to do it right. We want to do it for the benefit of our country and for our soldiers and um, for our neighbors, for our neighbors. So thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. And yeah, just absolutely, things are going to start getting really, I might have to go to two a day, um, two lives a day, maybe more. Things are going to get very, very busy because we're addressing all of these constitutional crisis points in El Paso. So thank you. Please share. And we love you. We love you for sticking with us. And we really depend on your prayers. And we are very grateful.